Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're acting as an analytical engine to decode the completely deceptive stability of the newly published May 2026 visa data. Listen, we are stripping away the surface-level reporting here. We're looking strictly at the numbers, the underlying administrative mechanics, and those hidden cause and effect relationships that truly dictate global immigration outcomes. If you're just looking for a generic, fluffy summary, well, you're in the wrong place. But if you want to understand the implicit threats, the hidden variables buried deep in the latest official data, and exactly why wait times fluctuate so drastically, well then, let's get started.
So, let's kick things off with a massive question. Why on earth does a current status actually mask a looming quota exhaustion? I mean, on paper, the latest data release looks remarkably positive, right? But expert analysis reveals a really severe disconnect between that surface-level reporting and the hidden administrative mechanisms at play right now. We absolutely have to distinguish between the comforting facts presented on the main summary pages and the implicit, long-term implications hiding in the fine print. That current status, it's doing a ton of heavy lifting to conceal a rapidly approaching structural brick wall.
Okay, here's our analytical roadmap for today. 1. The illusion of stability. 2. The hidden filing shift. 3. Impact on backlog nations. 4. The quota exhaustion threat. And finally, 5. Immediate action required.
Starting with part 1, the illusion of stability. Let's decode this down. So, for a lot of global applicants, the primary employment categories are showing a very comforting C for current. To the untrained eye, this projects a highly stable period, right? No major movement in cutoff dates. It kind of suggests that the processing gates are just wide open and the system is functioning perfectly, with zero backlog today. But analytically, current is literally just a snapshot in time. It indicates that a final visa number appears to be available exactly today, but it is definitely not a forward-looking projection of the system's actual health. Out of sight, high demand is actively building up. The absence of negative movement in these primary dates is frankly a smokescreen. It creates this dangerous sense of complacency among applicants, totally distracting them from a major administrative maneuver happening quietly in the background. Which brings us to part 2, the hidden filing shift happening right behind the scenes. To properly manage processing flow, authorities use a dual chart system. Think of it like a set of giant industrial valves. The secondary table, often called the dates for filing chart, acts as a wide intake valve. It allows for an expansion of applicants, letting people get in line early, submit their paperwork, and enter the processing pool way before their final visa is actually ready. But the authorities are now deliberately switching the permitted filing chart from that generous intake valve over to the highly restrictive primary table. You guys, this is not just a routine clerical update. It is a calculated mechanical throttling of incoming demand explicitly designed to immediately shut off the pipeline. This seemingly minor switch to Table A, the final action dates table, carries immense real-world stakes. By forcing everyone to use this strict primary chart, authorities are effectively slamming the waiting room door shut. You can no longer get in line early. You literally have to wait outside until an actual final visa number is completely ready for you. And the mechanical consequence of this? It's severe. It completely strips applicants of the ability to secure vital temporary living and working benefits. When you're denied early filing access, you lose the ability to apply for your employment authorization and your Advance Parole travel documents. The entire safety net is just yanked away, all because they swapped which chart governs the filing.
Let's look at part 3, the impact on backlog nations, and how this pain is unequally distributed. Okay, so the pain of this administrative shift is absolutely not distributed equally. To understand why, we have to look at the underlying mechanic driving these numbers, the per-country cap. By statute, no single nation can receive more than 7% of the total available visas. Because general global applicants generate demand well below that 7% ceiling, their primary and secondary charts basically align at current. For them, the val switch means nothing. They just keep enjoying stable processing. But Indian and Chinese nationals generate incredibly high volumes of demand that instantly hit that 7% statutory ceiling. For these specific demographics, there is a massive discrepancy between the early filing chart and the final action chart. When forced to use the stricter chart, their ability to file applications halts entirely. This bottleneck translates directly into an immediate, invisible spike in real-world wait times. It effectively locks them out of the system while others just flow right on through. Moving on to part 4, the quota exhaustion threat and its looming limits.
140,000. This number right here is the hard, mechanical reality of the entire system. It's the strict annual federal limit on employment-based visas. And crucially, this is a statutory limit, meaning the processing authorities have absolutely zero legal flexibility to exceed it. None. If demand approaches 140,000, they are legally obligated to slam on the brakes. Analytical experts interpret this sudden restriction to the filing chart not as some random administrative choice, but as a glaring, flashing warning signal of impending quota exhaustion. The authorities are shutting the intake valves precisely because their internal data shows they are rapidly accelerating toward the end of the road. And that, my friends, brings us to retrogression. The official notes, buried deep in the technical sections of the data bulletin, explicitly project that as demand fully materializes, retrogression is going to be necessary. This means they won't simply pause the cutoff dates, they will actively roll them backward by months or even years. It's a deliberate mechanism used to artificially suppress demand to ensure they don't illegally exceed that 140,000 limit. Retrogression is a factual, officially forecasted mechanism. It's telling us loud and clear that the processing gates are about to slam shut. If we track the underlying mechanics of the fiscal year, a perfectly logical pattern emerges. Earlier in the year, cutoff dates advanced artificially. This was likely due to temporary pauses in certain global processing avenues, or brief spillover of unused family-based visa numbers that artificially inflated the employment pool. But that early anomaly, it's over. In May 2026, we see the deliberate administrative shift to throttle the inflow. Looking ahead to the end of the fiscal year in September, this self-correcting data trend points directly to an impending quota wall. The system expanded early on, and now it forcibly has to contract to balance the books. Finally, Part 5, immediate action and the strategic response you need to take. Because of this looming exhaustion, passive waiting is just no longer a viable strategy for highly skilled foreign professionals. The data demands an active, mechanical response. Step 1. Identify if your specific priority date is open right now, before those chart shifts take full restrictive effect. Step 2. If your window is open, file for your status adjustment immediately. Do not wait. Step 3. Use that formal filing to legally secure your temporary travel and employment documents. Those documents are going to act as your strategic anchor when the overarching system retrogresses. Stripping away all the noise, the actionable insights from this expert analysis are incredibly stark. If you're eligible today, do not wait for next month. Retrogression is an explicitly projected administrative tool, and it will be deployed imminently. A filed application legally anchors your place in line. But more importantly, we have to consider the severe consequence of inaction here. Failing to file while the valve is open means you could literally be locked out of vital living and working benefits for years once the system rolls back. Securing those temporary benefits provides immediate, tangible security for your career, while the larger immigration apparatus just stalls out.
The data doesn't lie, but it absolutely does hide its true intent beneath the surface. The era of predictable, linear progress in global immigration is officially replaced by a complex reality of sudden valve closures and hard quota walls. So, how will you adopt your long-term strategy to survive and thrive when the administrative mechanics shift without any warning? Thank you so much for joining this explainer. Stay vigilant out there, and I'll see you in the next one.